Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana describes NLC ruling directing them to call off indefinite strike immediately as unfortunate, as it serves notice it is unable to comply with the ruling now.
Anybody who can look at issues and analyze can say that is unfortunate. Because you see, you have given a ruling, time has elapsed, one party did not comply with the ruling, then instead of enforcing the person to comply with the ruling, you come with another ruling.
We'll bring you details of the National Labour Commission's ruling. Top story is brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting. Ready? Gasem, the nation builder. My name is Gifty Andoh Appiah. The National Labour Commission (NLC) is directing the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana to immediately call off their strike and return to work. But this ruling will be defied for now by TUTAG. That's according to President of the Technical University Teachers, Dr. Solomon Kilson, who says the decision to end the strike would have to be done by Congress. It's been 5 days of protest by the teachers and senior administrators over unpaid allowances. Joining us, Maxwell Agbagba was at the NLC meeting with TUTAG and TUSAG. Maxwell joins me in the studio with a copy of the Commission's ruling. Maxwell, let's begin with highlights, the main highlights of this ruling.
Well, in the ruling signed by the chairman, Andy Kwabena Asamoah, we have 4 bulleted points. The first one says the 6 out of the 8 technical universities who submitted their data to the National Council for Tertiary Education, NCTE, will be paid their salaries together with allowances on 29th January 2020. The second point says that the 2 technical universities, Sunyani and Tamale, who are yet to submit their data, should do so latest by 17th January 2020 to enable the government pay their salaries and allowances at the end of February 2020. The Commission also directed that with this intervention put in place, TUTAG should call off the strike with immediate effect and return to work. The last one talks about the fact that the parties are further directed to continue negotiation on the outstanding issues in good faith. Gifty.
Well, these are highlights of the NLC ruling. This ruling has not gone down well with the technical university teachers. President of TUTAG, Dr. Solomon Kilson, says he is disappointed efforts were made by the NLC to get government to comply with an earlier ruling by the Commission.
If there is ruling, people must comply. But it's interesting that there has been a ruling already and one party has not complied, and then another ruling coming this time giving the party that did not comply advantage. So our lawyers went to represent us. They have given us the briefing. We have the ruling, a copy of the ruling. But you know, the way our union works, decision taking is not by one person. So we have to meet as Congress. And you know, our people are from south to the north, and so we have to organize all of them. This is even the reason why we couldn't come for the NLC invitation. And so we are now going to tell them that this is the ruling, give them copies of the ruling. Then we have to arrange when to meet and consider the ruling before we can call the strike off. So calling off strike in a union like ours is not something that you just hear and you do it, no matter how the occasion is.
Earlier, you indicated that the NLC ruling was unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate. And I think anybody who can look at issues and analyze can say that is unfortunate. Why? Because you see, you have given a ruling, time has elapsed, one party did not comply with the ruling, then instead of enforcing the person to comply with the ruling, you come with another ruling to give the person a rebate. It's quite unfortunate.
That is Dr. Kilson there speaking. But Maxwell, he talks about a particular ruling, an earlier ruling. Bring us the background to that ruling he's talking
the
about.
NLC sometime in October met the Technical Universities Teachers Association of Ghana, and they raised concerns about their migration onto the single spine salary structure and then some other allowances. In October, when the National Labour Commission met the parties, there were some agreements that were made that these allowances would be paid starting December. But in December, that allowances did not come. The allowances that they were demanding did not come, and that triggered the strike from TUTAG, and then later we had TUSAG also joining. So that's the ruling that he's talking about. Dr. Samuel Kilson is talking about.
Very well. So you've been speaking to the executive secretary of the NLC, Ofusua Samoa, and he's been responding to these issues raised by TUSAG and TUTAG.
Exactly. When we spoke to TUTAG and when we spoke to TUSAG, when I spoke to the national president of TUSAG, Adam Honu, he told me that they are not too happy with the ruling and that they would go back to their members, have a meeting with their NEC, the National Executive Committee, and then make a decision, and then also get the ruling of the NLC, study it before they can make a decision, or before they can talk about what is next for them. But when we had the interactions, with him, he couldn't tell us whether they will call off the strike or not. We've been speaking to the executive director of the
National Labour Commission first, and then we go to TUSAG.
You are on strike because you have not received your allowance. To receive your allowance, you need the data to do the validation. And you are on strike.
Dr. Zuberi of the Accra Technical University.
Yes.
What's saying that the letter that was written to the NCT was written on the 30th December 2019.
When they wanted to declare the strike on the 7th of January this year, their letter of notice of strike, was submitted at 31st at 7 o'clock when we had closed. So it was left with the security man there on the 31st. The good thing is that the commission has resolved the matter and they have called off the strike.
Okay.
So because the 6 out of the 8 are going to be paid. The 2, if they submit by the 17th, they will be paid. Okay. That's Tamale and this.
But speaking to the members of TUTAG, the leadership of TUTAG and then TUSAG, what they tell us is that they would consult their members and their final decision will be based on what
they have. No, you don't decide when the commission gives a directive, right? You don't go and decide on it. You either comply or defy, right? If you want to challenge our decision, you go to the Court of Appeal. If you want to set it aside, you go to the High Court. So there is nothing like decision. What are they going to decide on? Whether to comply or not? And if you fail to comply, it comes with its own, repercussions. You understand? But one interesting thing about it is that, when it comes to this data, TUTAG will be paid based on the submission of the data, right? TUSAG is supposed to prepare the data, and TUSAG was on strike, so the data cannot be submitted. So neither TUTAG or TUSAG could be paid. So TUTAG should have asked TUSAG to prepare the data so that the two of them can be paid. This is the story. So now TUSAG has, so both of them simultaneously have now called off the strike. So we are calling off the strike to prepare the data. That is for the two universities. And the third thing is that, interesting thing about the Tamale and Sunyani is that, submit the data and let's pay you. You haven't submitted the data. And then you are on strike. So what are you on strike for? Submit the data.
What's likely to happen if TUTAG and TUSAG, if these two organizations, if these two groups do not comply?
When after the commission had given its ruling and the directive, the chairman of TUSAG said, he used the word, I am very happy with this and we are going to comply immediately.
But when we interacted with the members, we didn't get that feeling that they are happy with.
The members were sitting there when their chairs made this declaration. One said, In the case of TUSAC, he said, I am happy. Right? Yeah. In the case of the TUTAC, he used the word, oh, we will abide by it. This is a fair decision.
We just spoke to the national president of TUSAC just some minutes ago, and he told us, told us that he'll be going back to his members, and then they will make a decision when they get a copy of the ruling, and after.
You know what? You know the commission is like a high court. So you go to the high court and the judge delivers his ruling, and you tell the judge, I am going to take a decision on it. What decision are you going to take?
So who is to blame in all of this? Are we to blame?
Blame all of them. Actually, we blame all of them. All of them are some. When the government when the commission give the directive, and then the universities had not complied, the government session, right, should also have sent reminders to them, prompted them that because you are not doing this, this is going to happen. Or they should have come to the commission that yes, you gave a directive and the people have not complied. And if they don't, we will not be able to pay them, right? The government failed to do so. These people failed to do the submission, and then the government side also failed to inform the commission. Well, if they had informed the commission will also prompt them, invite them. So all of them, at least all the parties admitted that there was a gap somewhere in communication. So the commission has given its directive.
So that's the executive secretary of the NLC, Ofusua Samoa, saying that the two parties should either comply, have the option of complying with the directive or defying it. Otherwise, they can seek, legal redress if they want to. But when we spoke to the president of TUSAC, I mean, at the National Labour Commission headquarters, some of his members were not really excited about the decision.
But did they give you any indication that they will be calling off the strike anytime soon?
When we spoke to the president, he couldn't give us an emphatic answer that yes, we're going to call off the strike. He gave us conditional answers that they would have to first of all meet the National Executive Committee, and then they would also have to get the ruling from the NLC, study it before they can make a firm decision on the matter.
Very well.
We had a successful meeting with the NLC. A ruling was given to us as members of TUSAC. The deadlines were given. Even though we are not pleased with the ruling, we haven't gotten copies of the ruling yet, and so we await ruling of when we get copies to the ruling, and then we take further decisions on it. As at now, we are going into a meeting with my other local chairman, and then we discuss further issues that came up at the meeting.
I want to know the position. Are you waiting for a copy of the ruling before you take a decision, or are you waiting to meet your members before you make a decision on whether to call off the strike or not?
It's important to also communicate the issues that came up at the meeting to our local members because they are aware we are coming to meet the National Labour Commission. That issue must be discussed at NEC for us to communicate to them. And so that is the essence of the NEC meeting just after this place. The issue about whether we are calling off the strike or not, that would be as when we get access to the ruling of the commission.
We know for TUTAC, they are supposed the payments of their salaries and allowances will be on the 29th January 2020. In fact, for 6 out of 8 institutions that have submitted their data, is it the same condition that was given to you?
Yes, I must say that was part of the ruling that was given. We are informed that 6 of the technical universities have submitted their documentations for payment, and the deadline I talked about earlier on was for 29th of this month for payment of all the allowances and the salaries to them. To those 6 universities. And so yes, in a way the ruling are similar. We wait to have the copies, and then we actually NEC will take a decision on that.
Okay. Finally, for those who have not been following this TUTAC and TUSAC strike, what really are the concerns of TUSAC?
The concerns of TUSAC are just two issues. Mainly, we're talking about full migration of all members of senior members to the university salary structure and payment of allowances and salaries that are similarly paid in the universities in the country.
Well, that's Dr. Solomon Kusin there. We can get on the line. Well, that is President of TUSAC, I beg your pardon, President of TUSAC, Edem Hunu. We can go on the line now and speak to Dr. Solomon Kusin. Well, Dr. Solomon Kusin will join us shortly, but right now we have the NLC Executive Secretary Ofosu Asamoah. Mr. Ofosu Asamoah, thank you for your time this evening here on Top Story.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not a doctor. I'm a normal.
Very well. I was referring to Dr. Solomon Kusin.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the teacher unions say they cannot immediately comply with the ruling from the NLC. They said that is a decision that has to be taken by their Congress. They need some time.
I find it difficult to understand because they are asking for payment of some allowances, right, or in full migration. Now, in doing so, the government side needed data, right, to do that. They were giving time. Of course, the government side could not meet it. The thing is that they said 6 of them out of the universities have submitted. It's left with 2. The Tamale University and then the Sunyani. So the commission has directed that if 6 of them submit, who have not submitted should submit.
Mr. Asamoah, I lost you briefly. You said that if 6 out of 8 have submitted, then they should go back to the classroom immediately.
According to the government side, right? So they were in the 6-8 university to submission. It was realized that 6 of them have complied. So left with 2, that is Sunyani and Tamale. So the question was, if they have submitted the submission, why have not they been paid? So go ahead and pay them. And controller was saying that for that of January, they have made the payroll, they have rolled it already. So paying them in January at this time will be difficult. So they are going to delay their payment, January salary, including the allowance, from 22nd to 29th. So instead of receiving their salary on the 22nd, by 29th they will be paid. That is the 6th. And the 2 who have not submitted their data, that is Sunyani and Tamale, cannot be paid. Because they have not been submitted their data for validation to determine who should be migrated and be paid. It's simple.
So for the six technical universities who have submitted or which have submitted their details,
yes,
why can't they be paid immediately?
Immediately, you mean today?
That's possible.
No, you know they are paying salaries and allowances goes through a process, and the controller was there. In fact, the commission was pressing them to pay. And they said, no, it's a process. So next month they will be this same month, January by 29, you will be paid. Your December salaries have been paid already. January salaries will be paid by 22nd. But because they have been directed to pay, they are going to delay their salary just for 7 days, 1 week, in order that they can put all together. By the case of the 2 universities, that is Sunyani and Tamale, who have not submitted yet, they should submit it by the 17th of this month. You understand? Because by 22nd of this month, they would have closed the payroll system.
Okay.
So that they will be paid by February.
I do have the president of the TUSAC on the line, and I'll get him to respond. But quickly, one other issue.
Let me quickly put this.
Okay.
Quickly put this across. You are asking for payment. The payment will be determined on the validation of a data. You have not submitted the data. In the case of the Sunyani and the Tamale, right? That is why you have not been paid. And instead of going to work on the data and submitting it, you go and sit at home and see you are.
But at least six of the schools, Mr. Fosu, at least six of those schools have submitted their document. But let me bring your attention to this other issue. Okay, so the other issue they raise is that there has been an earlier ruling by the NLC, and government has not done their part of that agreement. That ruling that you gave them in October, government has reneged on its parts, but you are not putting pressure on governments. You're rather putting pressure on them. That's what they say.
Yes, that is the mistake was that perhaps we go on the part of government. They wanted to get all the aid and pay, right? So the commission realized that assuming the two decide not to submit at all, then you'll be holding the 6 on ransom. You understand? So they say the 6 have submitted. Pay them. Why are you holding them to ransom?
Let me bring in Adam Honu of TUSAC. Mr. Honu, Mr. Honu, thanks for holding for me. You've heard the arguments by Mr. Fosu Asamoah. He says that 2 of the universities, technical universities, have yet to submit their data for vetting and then subsequent payment. But you are holding the 2 universities seem to be holding the 6 others to ransom, even though there's been an agreement for them to be paid by the 22nd of this month.
Yes, thank you, and good evening to your listeners.
Please tune down the volume on your radio, Mr. Honu.
Yes, thank you. I think that the executive secretary is not being fair to the Tenga University. The ruling that they give us was for government to pay the allowances and the salaries by 31st December 2019. Now, if you expect you are giving a ruling to pay salaries by 31st December 2019, and on 30th December 2019, you are sending a letter to the Kenya universities to submit documentation for payment of salaries and allowances on 8 January 2019. The documents should get to you by 8 January 2020. Then whose fault is it? You are blaming the technical investors that we haven't provided.
But Mr. Honu, why didn't you send those documents if those documents were very important as far as getting your salary was concerned?
Exactly. So that is the issue we are talking about. That when the National Labour Commission gave the ruling on 4th November for all these things to be done, the institution responsible to collect this data did not follow up to do that because all along salaries were being paid and data was with Controller and Accountant General, and we have a documentation of audited staff of the Tenka Universities. So on our part, if the government team knew that they were going to request for further documentation, they should have taken steps to do that just after the ruling was given. But you request for data and you waited until 30th of December 2019 to collect data from the TUs. And here we are, and you are taking the issue as if it's the TUs that are holding the government back, and it's not. It's unfortunate.
You say it's unfortunate. We have just a few minutes to wrap up, and I want to look at the way forward. As it stands now, the NLC says that it's put out its ruling that's asking you to go back to the classroom. Now it says that if you won't do this, to go back to the schools, if you won't do this, then you either have to go to court to give you the right not to do so, but otherwise you'd have to do it now.
Yes, the executive secretary is aware. We had a discussion with him a few minutes ago on the copy of the ruling that was given to TUSAC. We were not happy with some of the issues which we brought to his attention, and he admitted that there are errors, and which he promised that they will be corrected for us to receive on Monday. And so at this stage, we are unable to take any decision on the ruling that we received today because we don't have the copies to discuss. So until we get it on Monday, NEC will look at it to study it, and then we'll take the next decision.
Mr. Fosu Asamoah, if you are there, let's wrap up on this quickly. You've heard them; they don't even have copies. He said the copies they received, they've had issues with it. They've raised those concerns with you. What it means is that between now and perhaps Monday, they cannot immediately return.
between now and Monday, perhaps today and on Monday they can return to the classroom. But let's put this across. In the case of the 6 universities who have submitted their data, right, and have not been paid, perhaps they have a case. But in the case of the 2 who have not submitted their data, that is Miami and Tamale, and there's nothing to look at or stand on to prepare their data, and they are still going to sit on strike.
I think that you've made that point. It'll be good for us to get their response as well. But there are still 6, Mr. Officer, there are still 6 universities, technical universities, which have submitted their documents, whose payments have delayed.
That is perfect. And that's the
at this point,
that they are going to pay.
Right. At this point, what do they do? Yeah. What do they do? They say they can't return to the classroom. You say they can't.
Tomorrow, they can be paid by Monday. So from Monday, as I talked to you, they said they are really working day and night on it, but they need time. Today is on the 9th. Within 20 days, it will be ready in their account. Ordinarily, it should have been 22nd. So just 1 week, and you get your salary and allowances.
Will they
to go and sit home?
Will they get any chance to convene that Congress they're talking about to take that decision?
Well, that is for them to do, but it's not in anybody's interest.
And if they don't go back, what happens?
You owe me, right? I come to you. You have admitted that yes, I owe you, except that tomorrow is a holiday. Can you wait for me to pay you the next day? And you will still hold my share and say I'm collecting my money.
I'm saying that they've raised some concerns that they can't go right now. Immediately, they cannot return. What happens if they don't?
Oh, certainly, it is not all of them who were there. They cannot convey to their members by word of mouth. So they needed, what do we call it? The ruling, a copy of the ruling. That is what they said. Even though was in the room, admitting that they have a platform and they could immediately put on the platform. And I think with the media, right, as we speak now, everybody is hearing it. And I don't see, it's not in anybody's interest.
So what happens if they don't return on Monday?
Well, you heard of DUSAC. It was done to nuts, and so shall it be to them.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here on Top Story. You had the NLC Executive Secretary Ofosu Asamoah there, also Edem Kehonu, National President of TUSAC, on the line, bringing us to an end. News Night begins in just a few minutes, but Top Story is brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans, your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting. Ready? Gasem, the nation builder. My name is Gifty Andoh Appiah. MFA Apau has News Night.